الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله الأمين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد حتى إذا استيأس الرسل وظنوا أنهم قد كذبوا جاءهم نصرنا فنجي من نشاء وقال إنه من يتقي ويصبر فإن الله لا يضيع أجر المحسنين. Respected brothers and sisters, the ayats I recited, it is from a Surah to Yusuf, to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called Ahsanul Qasas. The stories of the Quran give us time to reflect and see our own picture in the mirror of that, and especially Surah to Yusuf, that is a guidance to what Allah called Ahsanul Qasas, the most beautiful of the stories, in which people who are wronged can see themselves in that how to react when you are wronged. People who go to another land and immigrated, they can see themselves in the light of that surah, that how their akhlaq and character should be. People who are unjustly thrown behind the bars, they can learn from that surah, that how a person who is persecuted, level of his perseverance and sabr. A person who is dealing with the hasad, envy and jealousy of family, brothers, rivalry, he can see his reflection in that surah. Actually, this surah it shows light in all aspects of our life, wherever we stand, and we want guidance, and revealed to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a very difficult year, that is called Amul Huzn. In the life of Prophet ﷺ, 23 years after his advent, all years were hard, difficult, standing with dawah and standing against the animosity and hostility. But especially one year in the life of Prophet ﷺ, maybe around after 8th year after Hijrah, or some said that it was 10th year after Hijrah, that was called Amul Huzn, the year of sorrow and grief. The person who had all along griefs and difficulties and persecution had seen so many of his close companions killed, who had seen so many of his relatives died and martyred, who had seen starvation of his own family, who had seen all kind of troubles and hardships in his life. You can imagine what year that must have been. That was called Amul Huzn, year of real suffering, in which his beloved wife Khadijatul Kubra radiallahu anha died, who gave him support from the beginning when he came back with the first wahi. And also in that, his uncle, who was a great supporter of him in all conditions, all circumstances, he died. That was the crucial time. And in that, while he was going through this difficulty, Yahud of Medina sent a message to the mushrikeen of Mecca and said that he says that he is a prophet. Ask him one question, and he can never answer that, because he didn't know the answer of that question. Ask him this, that why family of Yusuf and Yusuf, how they came to Egypt. Though Sayyidina Yusuf was born, his father was Yaqub, was in Canaan. So how did they move? Why did they move from Canaan to Egypt? And it was mentioned maybe in their books, but not that much detail. Quran, instead of giving a simple short answer, it mentioned the whole story of that, in which not only it gave the answer of it, it told them that what Yusuf faced at the hands of his brother, envy and jealousy, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Meccan life was facing same kind of jealousy. On the one hand, from the Jews who were Banu Ishaq, the progeny of Sayyidina Ishaq alayhi salam, and on the other hand, his own relatives in Mecca. So mentioned that story and said that لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي يُوسُفَ وَإِخْوَتِهِ آيَاتٌ لِلسَّائِلِينَ. There are great lessons in this story for Sa'ilin. People who are asking this question, they should not concentrate why Yusuf come from Canaan to Egypt. But more than that, what happens when a person stands up with taqwa and sabr in dealing with Allah with taqwa and dealing with human beings with sabr, perseverance and steadfastness? What happens? He can find in this surah lot of lessons of wisdom embedded. And to what said ayat? Ayat, signs of glory of Allah, signs of power of Allah, signs of the planning and design of Allah. People could not understand this. They could see that Yusuf going from one hardship to other, from one failure to other, one difficulty to other. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had final plans, and it was everything was working according to that. Lot of time we don't understand what is going on. So mention that story that how Sayyidina Yusuf came to his father and said that Inni raitu ahada ashara kawkaba wash-shamsa wal-qamar. I had seen 11 stars, sun and moon bowing down to me. And the father, Sayyidina Yaqub, he understood what was meant by that dream, the interpretation of that dream. And he knew that how his brothers were jealous of Sayyidina Yusuf. And that jealousy, rivalry is not very uncommon among the siblings, especially when they are young and they think that resources are limited. If one get more, we will be short of it. So lot of time that happens, and that leads sometimes to even problems in the later part of the life, though it should not. It should go away with the age, but it does not. So that is why Islam teaches to parents too, that you need to be fair towards your children, because they are watching each other and they are keeping in their mind. Islam, right, hadith and stories tells us how careful. No, you don't need to be equal in treatment, but you should be fair in treatment. Equal means you have a 5 years old and 15 years old child. You are not going to give same amount of food to both of them, but whatever they need, you will try to fulfill their needs according to your ability. And every parent tries that and love their children, but after all, they are human beings. If some shortcoming happens, children need to understand that. But he said that your brothers will not understand this. لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا. Don't mention your dream to your brothers. But Sayyidina Yusuf was very young, and that dream leaked. And his brothers who thought that now there is indication in this dream of the glory of Yusuf, and our father will love him even more. So they became more jealous of Sayyidina Yusuf and planned even to murder him. And finally they decided they will abandon him in a well. So Sayyidina Yusuf, from the well, he was taken away by a caravan and sold in the market of Egypt and bought by Aziz of Misr, who took him to his house, to his wife, and asked her to take care of this boy who was growing up, very handsome, very good person of character and akhlaq. Khulq was very good and khalq was very good. So wife of Aziz of Misr, she tried to tempt Sayyidina Yusuf. But Sayyidina Yusuf, because of the character, because of his qualities, his father loved him that much. He was growing like that. He did not want to commit the sin. And that woman, she threatened him and said that if you don't listen to me, I will anyways blame you. And then you will end up in the prison. Sayyidina Yusuf said, Rabbi sijn ahabbu ilayya mimma yad'unani ilay. Allah, save me from this sin, even if I have to go to the prison. He was willing to pay. He was willing to pay a price to abstain from the sin. Generally, people are ready to pay a price to commit the sin and to enjoy the life. And Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was ready to pay the price to be away from the sin. And that's what happened, that he paid the price. He was thrown behind the bars. And what happens when you are unjustly behind bars, in jail, in prison? You will have resentment. You don't want to cooperate. You don't want to be a good person. But Sayyidina Yusuf was totally different, showing light to everybody who is persecuted, who is wrong, that in that kind of situation, people noticed that this was not like a regular person. He was very righteous and person of akhlaq, person of ilm and knowledge, that they testified, Inna naraka minal muhsinin. And that is where they asked Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam for the interpretation of that dream that two people had seen inside the prison. And Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam gave them the beautiful interpretation that made complete sense, and that is how that happened. That led even the dream of the king coming to Sayyidina Yusuf for interpretation, and Sayyidina Yusuf interpreted that too. And from there, Sayyidina Yusuf, people noticed that a person who was of that kind of person, knowledge and nobleness, he cannot commit sin of that kind. They blamed him of. And he came out of the prison, and the king said that I will make him astakhlishu li nafsi, exclusive for me, so he can serve. Right? They were expecting from a person who was sent to jail that he will serve that land, a new land where he was all alone by himself, without any family, without any backing. But all that was backing him was his character. All what was backing him was his iman and faith. So in that, we know that we need to learn that story in Quran and understand that the lessons that a story gives us, because that is very important. But finally a time comes when people from everywhere coming, when Sayyidina Yusuf was on the storage, maybe as a finance minister, looking after the things and distributing food after the years of famine and drought. Even his brothers from Canaan came, people from all over coming to Sayyidina Yusuf, because he proved that he was Hafiz and Alim, a good guard, trustworthy person. So even his brothers came, and Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam gave them food too. But a time come when the brothers come again, and they said that Qalu ya ayyuhal aziz, massana wa ahlana dur, waji'na bi bida'atin musja' fa'ufi lana al-kayla wa tasaddaq alayna. That, O king, that we are going through real difficult times, having agony and hardship in our life. So give us food and give us as much as you can give. وَتَصَدَّقْ عَلَيْنَا, give some charity too. They did not know who they were talking to, that it was their brother Sayyidina Yusuf. They thought Yusuf was gone. They left him and abandoned him, and after that taken away. Maybe what happened, they did not know. Now here Sayyidina Yusuf could not resist, and he said to them, هَلْ عَلِمْتُمْ مَا فَعَلْتُمْ بِيُوسُفَ وَأَخِيهِ. Do you people remember, do you know what you did to Yusuf and how you treated his brother and Binyamin? So they were shocked that what happened to Yusuf, nobody knew it. Even our father did not know how this person knew about it. Except Yusuf, we knew it and Yusuf knew it. So they asked, Ainnaka lanta Yusuf, are you Yusuf? How did you know? Sayyidina Yusuf said that, yes, Ana Yusuf wa hada akhi, I am Yusuf. This is my brother. And then said that that was the punchline of that surah. The strongest message is gives that what happened to Sayyidina Yusuf could happen to anyone, no matter whatever circumstances you are going through. Innahu man yattaqi wa yasbir fa inna Allah la yudhi'u ajra al-muhsinin. If you have taqwa and sabr, you deal with Allah, with the ibadat, how you should be giving the hukuk of Allah. Don't forget Allah. And dealing with people, have sabr. People will bother you. People will do the things you may not like, but you have sabr, as the brothers of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam did to him. Don't go after taking the revenge. You will have all the opportunity sometimes to take the revenge, or at least tell and embarrass somebody. But what the uswa of this surah and the life of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches, La tathriba alaykumul yawm. Forgive and don't try to just blame and put down somebody. We learn this here, that what Sayyidina Yusuf, despite all that, a lot of time we fail to forgive our relatives because we say, no, the wrong they did, I can never forgive. That was too big. If they had done a small thing, I would have forgiven. But it was too big. But nobody can wrong nobody as much as the brothers of Sayyidina Yusuf wronged them. Your brothers, no matter whatever they did not put you in a well to die or to be abandoned. Because of your brothers, you did not suffer to end up in the jail or sold as a slave and blamed of a sin and all this humility and difficulties you went through. It did not happen to you what happened to Sayyidina Yusuf. If he can forgive, why not you? The people of Makkah, how much they bothered Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam until his daughter died and martyred Zainab, and so many of his relatives and companions, stories after stories from his life. Nobody can do that much zulm to you what the people of Makkah did zulm to Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And at the conquest of Makkah, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had all the opportunity to take the revenge, but he taught that same uswa, la tasriba alaykumul yawm. No, we are the followers of Sayyidina Yusuf and Sayyidina Muhammad alayhimus salatu wassalam. We are not anywhere to take the revenge from anyone, but it is our message is message of forgiveness. Our message is that if we forgive, Allah will forgive us, and we just want to show our akhlaq and our character. Sayyidina Yusuf, when he had the opportunity even to come out from the prison, he said that first I want to be my innocence to be proven, because just coming out of the jail will not serve the purpose. I want to stand in between the community as a person of character, as a person of akhlaq. And that is what he did. And at that place where he got the opportunity, as a minister, as a responsible person, lot of time what corrupts the mind is not the hardships. It is the extreme wealth and power at your disposal. And that is what Sayyidina Yusuf had. And lot of time what made you difficult to stand with righteousness as piety is that the wealth you get, all of a sudden the citizenship you get, or all of a sudden you have some change in your life for good. That makes the things difficult. But for Sayyidina Yusuf, all those opportunities were there, but still he did not change and he did not become a person who is looking for dunya. That is what is expected from us, that follow the uswa of Sayyidina Yusuf and Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, to prove to the world that we are good people. Then this has very strong lesson. Allah says in this surah, Wallahu ghalibun ala amri. Allah has power over everything. He can change the situation of refugees. He can change the situation of immigrants. He can change the situation of people who are facing injustice. Allah can change anything. Allah has plans. Allah has designs and all this. Allahu latifun bi'ibadi. Allah settled in bringing out His plans. So, but we need to learn that from this surah, That is the lesson. لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ عِبْرَةٌ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ مَا كَانَ حَدِيثًا يُفْتَرَى وَلَكِنْ تَصْدِيقَ الَّذِي بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. This says that this is not just the stories to read to time and to pass the time, kill the time. It is to take the lessons from that Muslims always follow when they go to a new land, or when they are immigrants, or whatever situation in extreme poverty, but their character won't go away. They will never fraud. I learned a story. It was on WhatsApp that came, that says that when it was the colonial time in India, there were the governor, Lord Curzon, his name was, and he used to come with the other European guests to show them the monuments of India at the Jummah mosque, where poor people used to sit. Whenever these British people will come, they will give them some money. And one day when Lord Curzon was showing his guests that mosque and that place, he gave some money to poor people, and he dropped his wallet over there by mistake. And a poor person, he got that wallet and he brought it home, and he saw a lot of money in that. For him it was lot of money. Then he kept it. He came back the other day with the wallet, and every day with the wallet he came back to the mosque. Then after a while he saw again that Lord Curzon come to show that monument to some other people. That poor person rushed to him and ran to him and said that this is your wallet, take it back. He looked at him, that poor person, and said that, did you see what was in this? He said that I saw. There was a lot of money in this. He said, why didn't you keep this wallet with you? Why are you returning this to me? He said that I thought about it. Then I remembered, you are a Christian. You follow Isa alayhi salam. And I thought on the day of judgment, if Isa alayhi salam would say to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam that one of your follower cheated and committed fraud against my follower, against the person who used to take my name, it will hurt my prophet. And that's what I didn't want, my prophet to be hurt with my character and with my harm. That impressed him so much. But what the lesson it gives, that yes, we are here to show that we are the followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a whole ummah. We don't want, it is not about one person, two person. People will compare the followers, so-called followers, because it's not the true following of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam in Christianity either. But whatever that is, they take Sayyidina Isa's name, and we take all prophets are our prophets. We respect and revere all of them, but especially Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How can we put him down and say that the followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam go to countries, they can commit cheating, they can fraud, they can do the things that these stories tells us, that stay strong, stay with your character, even if you lose money, even if you lose position, even lose dunya, doesn't matter. Akhirah is your target. And this surah says that wala ajrul akhirati khair. The reward of the akhirah is where our should be our objective. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم إنا نسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك والغنيمة من كل بر والسلامة من كل إثم. لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا ميتا إلا رحمته وغفرته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاحا إلا قضيتها ويسرتها يا أرحم الراحمين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول